Sai Ram. It is well known that Swami always gave importance to quality over quantity. In fact, he would say a teaspoon of cow's milk is better than barrels and barrels of donkey's milk. Quality always is important. And that is why also when it came to singing, Swami would say that God is Bhava Priya, not Bahya Priya. Bhava Priya means one who loves the intent and feeling and the emotion behind. Bahya Priya means one who loves the externalities. Swami would say that even once, if you just think of the Lord and call out His name, that is enough. That is as good as a bhajan. But interestingly, that very same Swami also initiated the concept of Akhanda Bhajan. Akhanda Bhajan meaning non-stop continuous bhajans for 12 hours or 24 hours. Well, Akhanda Bhajan is a perfect example of quantity. That same Swami himself went and sang many bhajans during the first few Akhanda Bhajans that were held in the city of Bangalore.
Govinda Krishna Vitale, Venu Gopala Krishna Vitale, Govinda Krishna Vitale, Venu Gopala Krishna Vitale, Ranga Ranga Vitale, Sri Panduranga Vitale,
It is very clear that quality is more important than quantity. But once quality, that is the bhava, the feeling, the emotion, the attitude, once that is pure, then more of it is always good. Whether we do it for 2 hours or 3 hours, when we are doing it at good quality, more is always good, and that is where quantity becomes important. Speaking of Akhanda Bhajans, quality and quantity of bhajans, I am reminded of the jaw-dropping and beautifully inspiring experience of Kamlesh Punjabi. Mr. Kamlesh Punjabi hails from Jaipur in India, and he was settled in Japan. Jaipur to Japan he had made a travel for the sake of establishing a business. Well, Kamlesh Punjabi became extremely successful. In fact, today he has his own Wikipedia page. But before you go and start typing out Kamlesh Punjabi and searching him on Wikipedia, let me tell you, you won't find it because he is not known by that name today. Today, he is known as Mr. Ryuko Hira. He is among the most influential Indians in the world. He is the richest and most influential Indian in Japan. He has won hundreds of awards.
Shri Ryuko Hira, Vyapar Evam Udyog.
As late as January 2022, he was awarded with the third highest civilian award in India, which is the Padma Shri from the President of India. A very accomplished person, but a person who always remains humble in the background because he says it is Swami who is doing it all. This is the story of this amazing business person and a lovely devotee. Now this is the story of how Mr. Ryuko Hira experienced his first miracle with Bhagawan. Along with that, it also shows us the power of quantity, the power of Akhanda Bhajan, specifically the Shivarathri Akhanda Bhajans. It was Mr. Khoob Chandani and a couple of others who established the first Sai center in Japan in the city of Kobe. There is no coincidences in the Lord's master plan. You know, the word Kobe in Japanese means God's door. It indeed turned to be the door through which God entered Japan, because that is where the first Sathya Sai center was established in 1975. Later, a few years afterwards, Mr. Khubchandani and other devotees from Kobe visited the capital city, the metropolis of Tokyo. That is where Mr. Kamlesh Punjabi was. He had not yet become Mr. Ryuko Hira. That is an entirely different story by itself. But when they went there, they contacted him, and Mr. Khubchandani told him that Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba told me to approach you and tell you about him and tell you that you must call all the Indian diaspora in Tokyo to attend this meeting. Now, Mr. Ryuko Hira, I will call him that now because that's how we know him. He was very skeptical of this. He was in his prime youth, 27 years of age. Interestingly, he was born in the year 1947. He was in his prime and he was planning to initiate a mega business proposal and plan there. And he was the least interested in Swami. So he said, I've got nothing to do with this. That is when Mr. Khubchandani gave him the example of his two sons, one in Africa, the other in Indonesia, who had done extremely well as business people. He told Mr. Hira that if you come to Swami, your business will prosper and grow manifold. Now that is what interested Mr. Hira, and he decided to attend this meeting in Tokyo. He also sent out invites to everyone in the Indian diaspora whom he knew. And so, on that day, out of obligation to Mr. Khubchandani, more than as devotion to Swami, he attended the meeting in Tokyo. He was taken aback when, after the entire program where Mr. Khubchandani, his sons and other devotees shared the life and teachings of Swami, an announcement was made that a center was being initiated in Tokyo and the convener of that center would be Mr. Ryuko Hira. This was something that he didn't expect, but it is Swami's blessings that he just accepted it. He didn't expect it, but he accepted it. The next challenge came to him a few months later when the Shivaratri was coming up. Shivaratri usually comes in the month of February or March every year, depending on the lunar cycles. He was informed that Swami had said that a 12-hour long Akhanda Bhajan must be held during Shivaratri. And since he was the convener of the Tokyo center, it was his responsibility to hold that bhajan there. He had no clue what had to be done. He had just some acquaintance with bhajans, and because he used to play the piano a bit, he had some inkling of music. So he asked Mr. Khubchandani, what am I supposed to do? What is Akhanda Bhajan? Mr. Khubchandani said, it's very simple. From 6 p.m. to next day morning 6 a.m. you're supposed to sing bhajans. Keep a photograph of Swami, keep a photograph of Shiva and just do the bhajans, that's all. Okay, yes, just invite anybody whom you want, call anyone who is interested in and have the bhajans whole night long. So now Mr. Ryuko Hira says that it was such an inconvenience because those days there was no mobile phones, even the technology of fax was just coming in, so everybody did not have fax machines. So well in advance he had to actually write notes. He got them printed, he got them packed, posted them, he had to send by mail, by snail mail, not email. It almost cost him $1 per letter. He invited about 200 to 250 people whom he knew. And Shivaratri day actually came. At 6 p.m. the Akhanda Bhajan has to begin. And in his home, which had now also doubled up as the center, it was only him, with only one photograph of Swami, no Shiva photo also. And that photograph of Swami also, Mr. Khubchandani had given him. So with that one photo of Swami, Mr. Hira sat, and his piano experience allowed him to hold a few chords on the harmonium. He knew just 2 bhajans. He thought, let me begin. He sang both the bhajans. Nobody was there yet. Again he continued to sing. 2 more. Not 2 more bhajans, the same bhajans again and again. An hour, 2 hours passed, and yet he is the only person singing bhajans. And now he began to feel tired, he began to feel hungry, he wanted to go to the restroom. He couldn't do anything because there's nobody to take over. He continued for as long as he could. And finally, he looked at Swami's picture and he said, "This is going too far. I cannot carry on with this any longer. That's all. Now nobody has come. I guess I'll have to stop it. I'm just going to stop this. Okay? This will be the last time I'm singing this bhajan." Not the last bhajan, because he has already sung this so many times. "This will be the last time I'm singing this bhajan." That's what he said. But even before he could finish that bhajan, the telephone at home began to ring. Those days it was landlines. He had to walk 8 to 10 meters to reach the telephone. So he just paused the bhajan, walked up, picked up the telephone. "Hello?" No response. "Hello?" And then most melodious bhajan he had ever heard in his life. The bhajan was simply so beautiful, so soothing, so energizing, so inspiring, so captivating, so much filled with devotion. Mr. Hira was overwhelmed. He felt a surge of energy and strength throughout his being. His head that was feeling heavy till now began to feel light and refreshed. His stomach, which was growling in hunger, seemed to have forgotten that and was in a celebratory mood. The call went on for 8 or 9 minutes and the bhajan played on for that long. After that, something changed within. Dear brothers and sisters, the greatest miracle of Swami, as he says, is the transformation of the heart, is a transformation. And that is what Mr. Hira experienced. It was a transformative experience. He put the phone down, went back and sat on the harmonium. He sat and sang, he sang the same 2 bhajans over and over again. Look at the commitment, the love and the transformation of this person, dear brothers and sisters. He sang the entire night. 12 hours bhajan by one single person as a commitment. He sat and sang, and when it was about to be 6 a.m., a thought just passed his mind that, you know what? I didn't even keep a Shiva photograph, but anyway, in a couple of minutes now this bhajan will be over and I can have some breakfast. Even as he thought this, the doorbell rang. A visitor had come, which was his own cousin. A cousin whose flight had been delayed. His Air India flight had been delayed, and therefore he got off at this stopover at Tokyo and he had come home. And he brings a photograph of Shirdi Baba with the snake around the neck in the Shiva form. And so, keeping that photograph, they do the last bhajan on Shiva. Ryuko Hira gets up. Can you believe it? There is no exhaustion. There is no tiredness. There is a joy surging in his heart. There is energy surging in his body. He is just feeling so wonderful. Even without taking breakfast. Now he goes for breakfast. His usual breakfast would be ham and bacon and eggs. He's a non-vegetarian. That morning he takes a bite and puts it in his mouth and he just is unable to eat it. He spits it out instantly. Never it has happened in his life. His cook, who sees his reaction, tells him, "You did this crazy thing, keeping up whole night and singing bhajans. I think that's what is showing its effects." Not able to understand it, he asks for a cup of tea and just has that. After a while his cousin leaves. Mr. Ryuko Hira was also a chain smoker. He would smoke 10 to 15 cigarettes a day. He pulls out a cigarette and puts it in his mouth. He is unable to smoke. It is leaving a strong burning sensation on his tongue. The tongue that tasted the divine ambrosia, the divine nectar of Swami's name, is now being repulsed from the taste of the dirty cigarette and tobacco. He is not able to smoke. He tries. This was a habit that gave him relief. This was a habit that gave him comfort. So many times in the past, Now he is not able to. We often think how to give up a bad habit, how to give up an addiction. Yes, there are videos made on both of those. But dear brothers and sisters, for both, the most important is Swami's grace, and that had flowed to Mr. Hira. He was unable to smoke. He was unable to drink alcohol as well. And as he confesses, overnight, I had not just given up my bad habits, I had developed a distaste towards them. It is not as if I felt I was making a sacrifice and giving up non-vegetarianism, smoking and drinking. I did not want them. I was being repulsed by them. That was the instant detachment that he got because of his continuous singing of bhajans during Shivaratri Akhanda Bhajan. Swami says, detachment is deep attachment to God. Brothers and sisters, when we get deeply attached to our Swami, we automatically get detached from all the bad and wrong things in this world. And that is why, though Swami gives importance to quality over quantity, once we achieve quality, quantity helps. The 12-hour continuous bhajans transformed Mr. Hira's life. Even as we go and attend bhajans, let us always remember this, that bhava or heartfelt feeling is what brings quality to the bhajan. And having achieved that quality, let us sing more and more, over and over again. Let our lives themselves become a continuous Akhanda Bhajan, singing the glory of Swami. Dear Swami, you will grant us that boon, right? That we spend our life singing your glories always. I know you will. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.